Duff Kagan is a multi-instrumentalist, martial artist, author and journalist. Over the years he's been in a number of bands, but he is mostly recognised as the bass player of Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver. He was born on February 5th, 1964 in a place called Seattle, the largest city in Washington state in America. The youngest in a family of 8, Duff was heavily influenced by the thriving punk scene in Seattle, in which he learned to play everything from drums to guitar and bass. When he got older, he made his way to Los Angeles and would eventually join Guns N' Roses, propelling him to superstardom, but also sending him down a path of drugs and alcohol that would eventually make his fucking pancreas explode, forcing him to get clean and sober at a later date. But during the Use Your Illusion era of GNR's career, which at the time was the longest tour in history, starting on January 20th, 1991 till July 4th, 1993, a tour that would give COVID-19 a run for its money, Duff became an everyday, literally everyday, full-on cocaine snorting, bottle of vodka drinking lunatic that was constantly in a state of delirium. But there was a certain charm and swagger about him in that era that just somehow made all of the drugs, alcohol and rock and roll combined the coolest shit ever, and I idolised the fuck out of him. At 15 years old, how could I not? Just look at him. Cool big bleach blonde hair, cool bass, could say absolutely anything and still sound like the coolest motherfucker alive. All he had to do was stand somewhere and automatically that place is the coolest place ever. On the album Use Your Illusion 2, he sings the song So Fine. So Fine is the story of a man who works as hard as he can to be a man and stand on his own. But in Duff's rendition, he's the man who works on his cans to be a man who stands on his own. In the live version, who the fuck knows, but it still sounded like the coolest shit ever. Duff just had his own way of doing everything, and I got endless amounts of joy and entertainment out of watching all the various interviews he did over the years. In one of his many mashed off his banana interviews, he mentioned that he was working on an album all throughout the tour, and I was excited to hear it, but I didn't know where to find it at the time, and I wouldn't get to hear it till many years later, but it didn't disappoint me one bit. It was everything I was expecting it to be and more. On September 28, 1993, Duff released his first solo album called Believe in Me. Believe in Me had an all-star cast of special guests like Slash, Matt Sorum, Gilby Clarke, Lenny Kravitz, Sebastian Bach, Snake Sabo, Rob Affuso, Jeff Beck, Bobby Jean Brown, I interviewed her, Doc Newman, the list goes on, literally, it's an endless list of celebrity guests. The album is true rock and roll with a punk-inspired attitude. There are some great songs on it. My favourites are Believe in Me, F Off and I Still Love You. The album is also random as fuck. There are so many Duff one-liners that give this album endless replay value.
If you thought I needed you, why would I be looking at chicks and looking at French fashion magazines? Saw you at a restaurant down on 42nd Street, drinking red wine and laughing. Kept walking by myself with my bottle of rye. I believe you, baby. Duff. That's me, that's right. Sing it here, la-di-da, la-di-da, from your ass.
I keep saying Duff, a bitch is a bitch. Yo, Duff, let's get out of here. Wait a minute, this is my motherfucking house.
That's right, man. And this little girl came up to me and said, "Sir, where did tears come from?" And I looked at this baby girl and said, "Baby, from you definitely not pain. So, if anybody out there can figure this out, drop me a line."
Hilarious, right? Duff debuted as a solo artist on MTV's Headbangers Ball in 1993, singing the title track Believe in Me. Clips of the performance were taken and turned into a music video to support the album. Commercially, the album didn't do so great, but I really loved it, and if you're a GNR fan that hasn't heard it, it's a must. His other projects like Loaded and The Walking Papers are great in their own right, but they are a different animal altogether from a man who eventually cleaned up his act and got it together. Believe in Me is Duff in his prime, warts and all, and it's well worth a listen. So go on, have a listen, and thanks for watching. Take care.